In a fictional world, a snowstorm has forced two sides of a war to seek refuge from a couple living on the border of the two nations. The couple needs to keep it a secret that the soldiers are from opposite sides of the war as the snowstorm rages on outside. So I wrote Dance Again at the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020. I had just had a whole bunch of changes in my life happen. I had thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail, wrote an analysis of the American education system, spent a couple months working on a berry farm in Vermont, all sorts of these crazy freewheeling things. And when I came back to Maine to settle down a little bit, I had an idea to write something. And since I have so much experience with theater, a play was the first thing that I thought to write. And this was it. Over the next few months, the first few drafts of Dance Again appeared. So I did do some directing in college, but it wasn't as intense as this has been. Mostly it was one acts and 10-minute scenes. I did do a full-length show, but it was outside, and outside shows don't count. Just kidding. As You Like It, 2021. Right. I don't have to worry about wondering what the writer envisioned for the performance. I know what the writer envisioned because it is me. That said, if the cast or crew has any issues with a line or how something works or something like that, I can't hide behind, well, the playwright, I don't know, they kind of mess things up here, because that is me. So should have used a pseudonym. So it did change quite a bit over the course of writing it. It started out, I started thinking of it, at least, as a musical piece. I'm not a musician, but I like thinking of music, and especially entire albums and pieces of music, kind of having this flow to them where there's a build-up, there's a calming down, there's clashes, there's sort of the rise and fall of a musical piece is what I had in mind here. I was trying to connect war and love and dancing and all kinds of these things that could be very musical. And that's sort of where the idea came from. I am not a musician, as I said, so because my experience is with the theater, it became a play. And that's how it started. It morphed from the beginning to the end into what it is now, but it did stay pretty consistent in terms of who the characters were and what was happening in the story. Don't do it. Just kidding. Leave some for the rest of us. I think my biggest piece of advice would be to listen and pay attention to how people talk and act in real life. There's a lot of ways where we're not perfect in terms of how we normally act, and in order for a play to appear realistic, it needs to reflect that. It needs to show the flaws in humans, and not everybody's gonna have a perfect way of responding to something or describing something. Arguments between two people obviously can be flawed in both directions. Another thing that my biggest piece of advice, second biggest I guess, would be that the first draft does not have to be perfect. And the first draft can in fact be very bad. Just as long as you have a decent foundation to build things upon, you can always rewrite things later on. Just the first time that you write it down, just write it down. People should see this show because the cast and crew have put a lot of effort and their wonderful energies into the performance. It's going to be a great show. I want to thank the maskers and especially Meg Nickerson for giving me this wonderful opportunity, and I'm really excited to see you at the performances.